To my YouTube friends, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In today's video, we are going to see an incident which happened in Negombo, Sri Lanka 2 weeks ago. On May 20th, a fire erupted on the ship which was anchored about 9.5 nautical miles, which is roughly 18 kilometers northwest of Colombo, waiting to enter the port, Sri Lanka. The ship initially left from Dubai, UAE, and was en route to Malaysia and had stopped in Qatar and India. The Singapore-registered cargo ship called MV Express Pool was carrying 1486 containers including 25 tons of nitric acid, sodium hydroxide, and other dangerous chemicals, as well as 28 containers of raw materials which is used to make plastic bags. It also had more than 300 tons of fuel in its tanks. The express pool contains 278 tons of bunker fuel oil and 50 tons of gas oil. There are also about 20 containers full of lubricating oil. Many of the containers contain so-called dangerous chemicals including nitric acid, caustic soda, sodium methoxide, epoxy resins, and methane. Half portion of the ship is now touching bottom at a depth of 21 meters. The Sri Lankan government has already banned fishing along about 50 miles of coast in the wake of the incident. Local people have been told not to touch any of the debris as it could be highly toxic. Authorities have also deployed hundreds of soldiers to clean beaches and chemicals. Thousands of Navy personnel in personal protective equipments have been deployed on cleanup operation to remove the thick layers of plastic pollution and chemical waste. Sri Lankan Navy put an effort to tow the ship into deeper waters, was not successful and had to be abandoned halfway through, as the backside of the ship had already sunk and was resting on the seafloor while the bow remained afloat. Now the main concern is the possibility of an oil spill, although they had not yet observed any oil slicks. Charita Patiwarachi, a professor of coastal oceanography at the University of Western Australia, said, "It's the worst environmental disaster for Sri Lanka." He said that there was also uncertainty about the exact nature of the chemicals in the more than 1400 containers abroad. Patiwarachi also said that the plastic pellets have been a scourge for oceans around the world, and the estimated 3 billion spilled off Sri Lanka are likely to migrate to other parts of the ocean. He also added that he expects them to make it as far as Indonesia and Maldives in the next 40 to 50 days. The pellets, which are very difficult to clean, are likely to stay in the environment for generations. Although they are not known to be toxic to the humans, they can endanger marine wildlife by getting caught in the gills of fish or ingested by sea turtles. It will persist in the marine environment forever as they are not biodegradable. It is terrible. The chemical spills has already caused severe damage to Sri Lankan coastlines, including Negombo and Kalutara. We can see beaches with sticky microplastics and an oil slick visible in the surrounding ocean. The plastic pellets used to make plastic bags now it can be fatal to marine life, and dead sea turtles, fish, and birds have already begun washing up on the beaches. Marine biologist Asa DeVos, 41, said that when she stepped onto the beach Wednesday, the scene hit her like a brick wall. She has decided her life to protecting and taking care of the ocean around Sri Lanka. She is an executive director of Oceans Well, a marine conservation research and education organization in Colombo. Sri Lanka's Marine Environmental Protection Authority has drawn up a plan in case there is an oil spill. Physical barriers will be deployed to slow the spread, and skimmer ships used to help disperse any oil slick. Now let's move to the effects of this incident. First, effects from already disposed microplastics. Microplastic is one type of plastic which has the length less than 5 mm. It's very tiny in size. It is used to manufacture plastic fibers, synthetic textiles, and personal care products. These are widely used in chemical industries for cheap and highly durable. Microplastics can have negative effects on the phytoplankton, which means plants in the sea, zooplankton, which is the marine animals, fish, and large marine organisms, either at molecular, cellular, or population level, which affects in reproduction, development, and feeding activity. Plastic debris is one of the most serious environmental challenges our ocean face. It affects marine organisms, habitats, and ecosystem, as well as the health and well-being of the people, particularly those dependent on the oceans. Smaller plastic particles are especially dangerous because they are easily ingested and can enter organs and body fluids of the organisms and thus propagate up the food chain. The fact that these particles are also contaminated with various chemicals and other pollutants make accurate assessment of the effect and toxicity of plastic pollution challenging. The fish act like pellets are not toxic themselves, but unless it cleaned up immediately, they could absorb toxins in the water and choke marine wildlife like blue whales, dolphins, and turtles found in these seas. The pellets can also block the digestive tract of fish that swallow them, thus starving them. Next, we will move to a second effect from nitric acid spillage. Nitric acid is to make nitric fertilizer making plastics, dye manufacturing industry, polyamides, polyurethanes, and making explosives. The percentage of industrial nitric acids would be around 68%, and the pH value is less than 1, which results adverse effect when it is exposed to marine environment. The lowering of the pH marine waters harms phytoplankton, a food source for different organisms and animals, which can modify the food chain and lead to extinction on different marine species. Here are some effects of increased acidity on aquatic systems. As the pH approaches 5, non-desirable species of plankton and mosses may begin to invade, and population of fish such as smallmouth bass disappear. Below a pH of 5, fish population begin to disappear. The bottom is covered with undecayed materials and mosses may dominate nearshore areas. Below a pH of 4.5, the water is essentially devoid of fish. Aluminium ions attached to minerals in nearby soil can be released to marine, where they can kill many kinds of fish by stimulating excessive mucus formation. This asphyxiates the fish by clogging their gills. It can also cause chronic stress that may not kill individual fish but leads to lower the body weight and smaller size and make fish less able to compete for food and habitat. The acid lower seawater pH and strip it for carbonate ions. It hampers the ability of marine organisms such as urchins, shellfish, corals, and certain types of plankton to harness calcium carbonate to make hard outer shell. These organisms provide essential food and habitat to other species, so their demise could affect entire ocean ecosystems. Now, let's move to effects of air pollution. There were so many ship containers burnt out from which the source of air pollution already leads to the air. Carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, methane, oxides of nitrogen, oxides of phosphorus, sulfur dioxide, particulate matters, and smoke. These will contribute for greenhouse effect, climate change, respiratory diseases when it is exposed to human and animals. There are also some other possibilities to other harmful hazardous chemical spillage. The ship also contains some other toxics and hazardous chemicals which also affect the marine biodiversity. More than 400 families' livelihood based on fisheries near the incident area. It is also affect the tourism industry in Negombo and Panubira. These would be so many other effects take place, such as human power, lost time, costs of cleaning, damage of ship, its goods and containers, diseases and more. Unfortunately, the price of this single incident is inevitable worse effects to humans, animals, plants and to the environment. We will see how to avoid these types of incidents in upcoming video. Thanks for watching this video. Please do subscribe our channel Messenger Hoopoe if you are not going to miss any of our future updates. Goodbye.